All right. So welcome back, everyone. Today we are going to be talking about using layers, talking about the layers panel here. So the first thing I want to emphasize about layer is that, as you can see on the timetable, we know layers. Everything that we have, layers is used for drawing organization. Layers is used for drawing organization. So this is just a way to explain your design, a way to group your design, to organize your design for whomever is going to be going through your work. So we have sample projects that we are working with. I'll go into my file, I'll go to open. I'll go into open. I'll try to open from our file. I'll just open one of the, let's open this line that we have here. You see that all our design that we have here, they are showing colors. They are giving, we have color contrast between all these lines that we have here. The reason why we have them in colors is because the person that made this drawing is trying to tell us that he's trying to make some differences or bring clarity to the capture that we have here, everything that we have here. How do we do this? This is achieved using the layers. You can see the lines that we have here as well. They're not the normal lines that you are used to on AutoCAD, are they? They are not the normal line that we used to. So layers, on the layers, what we do there is basically we do our drawing organization. The first icon, the layers panel, is what we have here. Everything we have here. So just like every other panel, it also has flyout, or the section that we have here. So I'll be starting with the first icon that we have on the list, which is called the layers properties. All these icons that we have here are what you can also, if you know the shortcut, immediately you type the shortcut out, the layer panel will show up. So this is what we have. When you click on layers property, this is what you should see for your design. Or if you have an empty design workspace, let me use an empty design workspace for the start. I'll click on this plus icon to open a new design workspace. I'll click on layers panel. You can see this space is empty. Right? So yes, this is where I want to start from. So I want to start my design, then I want to create layers first. Let's say I'm an architect. I'm trying to create a building plan. I know that I'll be having my walls. I know I'll be having my windows. I know I'll be having some components, external reference, like cars that I'll be showing in my walkway, my cars, all these different elements that make up my whole design. Are you with me? So I know that I'll be having all these things. I need to create layers for them. It's like you trying to group them, putting them under one umbrella. So under this panel here, the first section I'll be explaining to you is, let's ignore these three tools that we have here. Let's go to the first one on the list. Can you see the one with the yellow dot? When I over my mouse on it, just placing my mouse on it, you can see it's showing you new layer. So by default, without you creating any layer, immediately you start your design and start creating your design. You see that you always have this layer 0 active on your own system. Since all these days that you have been designing, I don't know if you have gone into layer property, layer panel, but you should always see this layer 0 showing here on top here. By default, AutoCAD will create a layer for you by default, and this layer that is here, you can't delete it. You can't delete the layer because it's just like a default layer for your design. It's always there. When I click on this new layer now, I have a section. The first thing I'm asked to do is to title my layer, so I can decide to title this my walls. I click on enter. I've created my first layer. I click again to create my windows. Right, I click on enter. What else do I have in my building? Let's say doors. Click on enter. I need one more. Roof. Then I'm going to my roof. Thank you. So this is fine. I've been able to create 4 layers here, and this is just using the new layer icon. These other two called the freeze, The next one is called the delete. That means whenever I select roof and then go to delete, it goes off. Just like you can select this window and punch delete on your keyboard, it will also delete it. Are you with me? So that's just deleting a layer that you've created earlier, and then I'll click on new again. I'll go to my I'll create my windows again, and then I'll go ahead again and create my roof. All right, so if the one that we have here for freeze, when I freeze VP frozen, I can escape. Let me do this. Select this guy and delete first. Let this guy delete first. So this one that we have here called the new layer VP frozen in all viewports. We will use this when we get to the plotting design. When we start plotting our design, there are some times you want to add some grid to your design. You want to add some component into your print, but you just want it to hold a content for you. You understand? Most of the time, that is what we use for our viewport. We don't want our viewport to show. When we get to printing out our design, we are going to use this new layer VP. That VP means viewport frozen in all viewports. So that's VP means viewport frozen. We'll be using it when we are plotting our design. So we see that we have spoken about the last one called the delete, but this last one here called the set current. This set current, when you are setting a layer as current, that means you are telling AutoCAD that AutoCAD, from now henceforth, anything that I draw on this my workspace, I want it to be on this particular layer. For example, if I want to set my wall layer as the current layer, all I need to do is to double click. Or if I want to set my door layer as the current, I select the door layer and then I go to this icon to click on it, and then it is set as the active layer. How do you know? You always see this check mark in front of it, this green check mark in front of it. Can you see that? And immediately a layer is set as current. Also, you will see the difference here. Can you see what is here? Roof. Let me select my window and then check again. Can you see what is showing here? Any layer you are seeing on this section, that's a current and active layer. So after that, the naming section, we have the next one called the on, freeze, lock, plot, color. When you on a layer, when you off a layer, when you lock a layer, when you plot, this plot icon that is here, all this plot section that we have here, I will be exploring. We'll be talking more about this as well when we are printing, because you can see the printer icon that is showing here. So if there is a layer of my design that I don't want to show to come out of my print, all I need to do is come to my plot and click on this print icon, and then you see an icon. Can you see the red icon that shows minus? Yeah. That layer won't come out of my print, of the plots that I'm trying to, of the paper, of the plot, the drawing plot that I'm trying to bring out. It won't come out of it. That layer won't show. I'm telling AutoCAD not to plot this out for me. That's that about plot. We'll be talking more in detail about this. I think this is around the last class. They are all here. Can you see plotting your design, plotting your drawing, and then creating template. These are the last classes that we have here. So also working with reusable content. These are last classes that we have. Okay. So we have the plot. The next section there is color. Can you see color? This is where we start adding color. For example, I go into my color, I just double click on the color section, and then it brings out this select color panel here, and then I can decide to add my bright green, click on OK. I go to the next one for my walls. I want my walls to be what? I want it to be this color. I want to go to my roof. I want to make sure my roof is blue. I want to use the door, and then we are going to use the red, like you said. So now you can see the layer 0 is still there. So you can decide to color your layer 0. You have that access, so you can do whatever you want to do to your layer 0. But AutoCAD will always leave your layer 0 active here on the workspace. For example, let me select layer 0 now, and I click on the delete. Can you see the selected layer was not deleted? Can you see? The following layers cannot be deleted: layer 0 and depth point. Is it making sense?
Yeah.
So this layer will always be on your design. Let's talk about the other part of our layer command. I'll close this panel up, and then they are the ones. Everything that we have there, the freeze, everything they are still showing here. When I just place my mouse on this one, you can see off, right?
Yeah.
You can see isolate. You can see the freeze here. You can see the lock. All right. So I'll just go ahead now and then start creating. Just create a random design. Oh, there is something we didn't mention. No problem. I'll go ahead, I'll do that again. I want to create my walls. I'm not currently is drawing this wall on my is drawing my wall on Windows. Thank you. So I need to be on walls itself. So I go back to my, and then I come up with a wall. Let's say 500 by 700, and then I Z enter, E enter. This is what I have, but I don't want it to be landscape like this. Can rotate. Alright. So this is the stuff. I'm just putting this on some small things here. So I'm going to create something called door here. It's my start end direction. Come to this point, move on a little bit, start from this point, go to this point, move out a little bit, then on this corner, and then create my escape.
Is it okay for you to you are still using the wall?
So I can select this guy. I can always go back and change it into window now. It's very easy. Yeah. So I'm just trying to create some different things. I don't even know if I should be doing this. This is taking a lot of our time. Let's create some different shapes. We have a circle around here. Let me have another heart around here. Just need something to illustrate whatever I want to explain. So it's good. So we can see everything is under layer. Under the wall layer. I'll go back to make this one my window. Let me create another circle again, another big circle too. Just my window. So I want this too. I want them to be on both. Right? I think we've used all the tools that are there. We still have door, right? Let's create a tip here. Select this guy and then make this my door. So we have been able to work on all the layers. But there's something we didn't do. Under the layer panel, there's something called the line type. Can you see that line type? What? Yes. When I go into line type, escape. So I go back to my line type here. You can see my line type here. I go to you can see the last thing that we have on the list. Let me expand this section. I think we still have more to go. Can you see this? So we have the line type. When I go to the first one for our door, I go to the continuous. You can see continuous is a solid line. Description is a solid line for everything. It's what we have for the remaining part of our design. Another way to create contrast from within your element is not just color. You can also use your line type to create contrast. So I can go ahead and then I'll go to load more. Can you see when I click on load more, I have other line types here on my design here. So I can decide to bring them in. If you select one of them and click on OK, it is just that one of them that's going to be added here. Can you see the one that we selected is one added here?
Yes.
And then I'll have to select it and then click on OK. Now it is applied. Can you see that?
Yes.
But when I go to the next one, I want to apply to my roof this time. I don't want to use the same thing, so I go to load more again. Instead of using one after the other, I'll select the first, I'll select the last, I'll click on OK. I'll click on what? Reload. So it will bring everything into I've loaded everything into that section. Are you with me? So now I can select. Let's use one of them again. I want to use ones that are with varying contrast. So let's use another one. This. Okay. Go to the next one. Let's use this. Okay. I'm just changing the line type. I'm using different line type for them. Clicking on this. Let's use okay. We have added line type to them as well. But out of all these designs that we've added here, I'll go to one of them. Let's go to the one for our roof, the blue one, and then I'll use my line width on that one. Let's use a very obvious line width. Let's use 1 mm. I'll click on OK. I added line width to only roof, right? And then I go back again to close my design. Can you see the designs, the adjustment that we made to each of the layers? The line type we selected for the roof layer, the door layer rather. Can you see the line type? Let me go to the roof layer. Can you see the line type for the roof layer? Can you see the line type for this? What is this layer called? Escape. The window layer. Can you see the line type for that? Can you see the line type again for the window layer? And this one too. Can you see the line type for the wall layer? Alright. So this is basically, you are using contrast to you are using color to create contrast between your elements. Another thing we can always use is the what? The line width. But I was expecting the question that we added line width to our roof, but our roof is not showing any line width here, 1 mm line width, right? The reason why it's not showing is because on your status bar, there's something called line width. It's already here on my own design, but if you can't find yours, you go to that donut icon, the customize, and then you try to locate it here. It is called the line width. Can you see line width here? Mine is checked. Can you see that? The icon for line width is this that we have here. Line width display. Can you see it's currently turned off? When I click on turn on now, can you see that the line width is now applied? Can you see that? Now let's go to freezing and unfreezing layer. The first one that we have on that list after this whole section, like I said, if you are trying to change from one layer to another layer, all you need to do is to click on this drop down, select the layer you want to work on, and then start creating your design, right? But now we have all these options here. The first option that we have here is turn off, and below it you have turn all layer on. Above that again we have isolate. We have another one called on isolate. The next one that we have there is called freeze. We have the next one called thaw. We have the next one called lock. We have another one called unlock. Are you with me? We have another one called the make current. We have another one called match layer. The first one that we have there, you can see we have almost like opposite of the two below them, right? Except for these two. Now I'll go to the first one on the list called the what? Off layer. I'll click on off layer, and then AutoCAD will ask me select the object on the layer. I'll select this one for the door layer. Notice, please note, the door layer is currently the current layer, right? AutoCAD will ask you when you are trying to turn off a current layer, it will ask you to double check that are you sure you want to turn off this current layer? Can you see that's what it's asking me here? Layer door is current. Do you want to turn it off? Can you see that?
Yeah.
And then I can click on yes if I'm still very sure that that's what I want to do. When I click on yes, that layer has been turned off. You cannot see any, you won't see any layer, any object on that layer will be turned off on the workspace. They are not gone out of your drawing, they are not deleted, they are just what? Turned off. Are you with me? So the layer door is still current, and I can decide to be drawing. And you notice that as I complete my drawing, everything goes off. I'm trying to draw a circle here. I can see the circle, but after completing my circle, I can't see a circle again. What is happening? What is the error? Because the door layer was turned off, and it's still the current layer. So everything you draw it will still be creating your drawing for you, but it will be turned off. Are you with me?
Yes.
Do you understand what I just said? Yes. So when you turn a layer off, the normal thing that we are expecting is that you are not trying to see that layer. So I don't even expect you to even draw on that layer that you've turned off. But since you are just getting started with the software, you might have turned it off and you are drawing. You just be like, this thing is not working again. So this could be the mistake. You have a layer turned off and you are drawing. You are not seeing anything there. So you can't have a current layer turned off and then you want to draw on that same layer. For example, let me go back. Since the door layer is turned off now, I'll go ahead again, go to my off. I want to turn another layer off. I want to turn off the green layer here, and then it's taking off the workspace as well. And then I have the icon below it called the what? Turn on all layer. When I click on that, everything that has been there before will now reveal itself. Can you see all the drawings that we've been making earlier that were going off? Yes. So that is what turning a layer off. The next one that we have here is called the what? Isolate. When you go to isolate, when you use the isolate command, for example, let me isolate our wall here. I'll go to isolate and then I'll select this our wall here. What will happen when I click on enter is that every other layer will be taken off. Every other layer will be taken off except that layer that I want to work on. There are sometimes your design is loaded. You have a lot of things on your face, so you want to isolate a particular layer. All you need to do is select the particular layer that you want to see, and then you isolate. Are you with me?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll go back to this section. Now that I've done my isolation, I'll go to what? Unisolate to review the rest of the icon, to see the rest of the design. Are you with me? Yeah, sometimes for this kind of design that I have currently on my workspace, for this what should you call this? There is a name for this thing that we have here. Land topography or what? Yeah. So sometimes color is not just for contrast. For some field, the color might actually highlight that this is to show a level of detail in the information. When you see some places that are yellow, when you see some places that are green, that means it's showing you that it's a leveled part or something like that. When you are seeing something that is red, you're showing. Do you get what I'm saying? Sometimes it can actually mean that the land is not really is slopey or something like that. There are some other information that are attached to using color, depending on the discipline. Are you with me? Yes. Yes, contour map. Yeah. So that's that about that. The next thing that we have here is the next one called the freeze. When I select the freeze and I select the same layer that we have here, I select yes, that circle. I select the circle and then I click on enter. I go to the freeze layer. I select the layer I want to freeze. It's not selecting for me. Escape. So I go to my freeze layer. I select the layer I want to freeze. Okay, you can see it's not freezing the door. Can you see that? It was not freezing the door. I was clicking on it, but it's not working. Because the door is a current layer, that's why it's not freezing. But any other layer here that I select freeze is going off the workspace. Can you see that?
Yes.
So you can't freeze, unlike you can turn off a current layer and you can have a layer current and then still be able to turn it off. But for our freeze here, we see that we cannot freeze a current layer. Are you with me? So you can see freeze is working similar to off, right? So do you agree?
Yes.
Yes. So the freeze layer is working similar to off layer, because whenever you turn a layer off, it also goes off the workspace. But we have clear contrast between the two. For example, when you have your design, a full-blown design, sometimes it drags your system down if you are using a lower configuration system. So it drags your system down, like I said, from this plan that we have here. If you have a capturing from a surveyor person, sometimes you have all these plans that slow down your system, right? And then what we are trying to do is to freeze some part of the layer. We can freeze some actually. I'll select the freeze and I can freeze this, and this. When I freeze all this layer, they go off the workspace, not like the turn off command. What they do is, they don't just go off the workspace, they also go off your RAM, your system RAM. So most of the time, when we start going into arching, when we start creating arch takes a lot of your RAM. If you are not using a very strong system, and you are doing arch that is covering a lot of space, your system will start dragging. Are you with me? Because it takes a lot from your graphics card. Are you with me? So when you freeze that kind of layer, when you turn off that arch, your system will still be dragging because it's still running on the graphics card. So it will still slow down your system. But when you freeze that kind of layer, that is why most of the time we create all our design, and at the end of our design, that is when we start adding our arch pattern on the regions or areas we want to put them. Are you with me? So basically, when you freeze a layer, it goes off your RAM and your graphics card, so your system gets to run even smoothly, right? Do you understand the contrast between the two? I'm the only one on the call. Hello?
Yes.
Okay, so the next one that I have there is the lock icon. I'll go ahead to unfreeze all the layer again. The next one that I have there is called the lock icon. When I select the lock icon and I select a particular layer to lock, immediately that layer is grayed out. And when I try to place my mouse on it, you can see the padlock icon showing, right? This icon is still showing on the workspace. So if I wanted this endpoint of this line, I can actually activate my line command and then continue from that endpoint. I can still use it as a reference point. But what I cannot do is I cannot move this object. I cannot make any adjustment to it. I cannot even fillet. If there is a corner here that I'm trying to fillet, I cannot fillet. I can't apply anything to this line that is here. It will just fix it on the point like you don't want to touch it. Is it making sense? Yeah, so that's what we have about the layers. The next one that we have there is called the make current. So by default, I don't expect you to always click down here to run through 500 layers, 500 list of layers that have been created for a complete project before you make a layer current. You can actually select one of the objects that is under that layer and then just click on this make current. Automatically that layer is made current and you can do whatever you want to do on that layer. If you are trying to create an object under that same layer, you do that. Are you with me? You can select a particular layer automatically and just go to make current. So you don't have to actually go down this list and start shoveling and scrolling through the list of 70 layers to look for a particular layer before you start using it. Just look for an item on the workspace that is on that same layer, click on make current and then start drawing whatever object you want on that workspace, on that layer. Another thing that you can also use is that if I wanted to create another object that on this same layer that's currently active, I can select, right, let's use the green layer this time. I'll select this layer that is here and I'll right click on my workspace and go to what is it called? Escape. Let me use this rectangle that I created here. I'll use this rectangle here. I'll right click on my workspace and I'll go to where is it? Make current. Where is make current? I can't even see the make current. Can you see make current on this list? I can't see make current here. So what I'm trying to do is this. What I'm trying to do is what? If you are trying to, so we can select similar. When we select similar, all other items that are on this same layer will be selected. Are you with me? Let me unlock all the layer we have. Unlock, select this layer, and then it's back. So let's go back to our drawing here. I think I need to freeze, right? So these are the layers that we've created. Now what do we want to do? We are trying to create, what am I trying to do? I want to select a layer. So I'll select one of this layer here, this red one, and then I'll right click, go towards select similar. When I select similar, this object that I have here, this circle, these two circles that I have here, they are also part of this same layer, the door layer, but they are not selected. Are you with me?
Yeah.
That's to tell you that this select similar command. So you'll be expecting that you are trying to select a group of a layer. Are you with me? So when you are selecting similar, it will only select this. You know, rectangle is a polyline, right?
Yes.
And then other lines that are drawn with the same property, they will be selected. Can you see that here? That is what is happening here. This circle are on the same layer with this object that are selected, but it's not selecting them because when you select similar, there are parameters that AutoCAD will use to what? To choose the object that you want to select. But for example, let's say you want to select actually the object that are on the same layer. How do you do that? I'll right click on my workspace and I'll select this object first. And I'll right click on my workspace and go to this properties again. I'll go to what? Quick select. Can you see quick select here? Not select similar this time. I'll go to what? Quick select. When I go to quick select, can you see this quick select option that we have here?
Yes.
So what I want to select on my workspace, what am I trying to select on my workspace? I can go to what? Where am I trying? Is it entire drawing or this current section? I'll say entire drawing. What am I trying to select? The object type. I'm trying to select all the polyline on this workspace. Are you with me? I'm selecting all the polyline on this workspace. By default, since I selected all the polyline, you know we also have polyline that are created on other layers. It will pick up all the polyline that are even under another layer, right? So I can select this layer here. Are you with me? So I'll click on what? Okay. Is anything being done here? No. Right click again, go to my quick select. I have the entire drawing selected. I'm selecting a polyline. I'm using my layer command. The value, which layer am I using? I'm selecting all the polyline on what? The door layer. Are you with me? And I click on OK. Now you see that all the polyline on door layer is being selected, right?
Yes.
Similar to what select similar did. I'll right click again, go to my quick select. Can you see that according to the options that you have, you see the results, right? So I'm going to the entire drawing. I'm selecting a polyline again, but this time I'm using the layer option again. I'm not using polyline. I'm using multiple. Let's select only circle rather. Let's select only circle on the layer, and then on that value here, I need to select the layer. If you have it on 0, it will select your layer 0 for you. But if you selected circle, you see it will show the colors that you have on your workspace. Which one are you trying to select? So if I'm going ahead again using my these are the properties basically. These are the properties you need to set to tell AutoCAD what I want you to select. Are you with me? If you are trying to select object with a thickness to it, are you with me? You can select thickness and then enter the thickness you are looking for. We have one with 1 mm, right?
Yeah.
So you can use that parameter to look for it, and it is only that object that will be selected on the workspace. I don't want circle, I'm using multiple. I'm using is it a polyline? I don't know if this was created using a line or a polyline, but you can see what I have here, right? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? The quick select helps you to do your selection more creatively, or if you have more tools. For example, I can have a plan open on my workspace that has inside is a building plan that has a computer room. And then I have placed external reference of the desktops that are going to be the number of desktop. I have arrayed a number of desktop. For example, I can have it here. I can have an illustration here. that shows that something like this, a small rectangle to show my desktop, and then I have a small circle from the center point here, and then I go ahead to trim this end. So I can select this as my computer in the building, and I can, if I have decided to array this, right, I have increased the number of the items, the computers in the training hall, right. Let's say we have this, and then I increase the spacing in between them so that they can fill up the space. But you see that we have this. So if I wanted to select all the computers, if these are not like the polyline shape that I just created now, that they are seen as a block element. So we wanted to select all the computers in the training hall, and they are up to 50 or 70. You don't have to do them one after the other. All you need to do is what? You right click, you go to your quick select, and then you can now select. Using that parameter, you select the layer, quick select, and then you can set this parameter according to what you are looking for in your design. Are we good to go? All right. There's one thing we are done with with everything that I want to explain that layer, but I would like to talk on just one more thing here. We have one thing called the layer work. This layer work is just, can you see everything is selected now? When I click on layer work, when I select door, when I select roof, when I select wall, it is only the wall that is going to be, it's like isolating as well, right? It is like isolating. So it's just a layer walkthrough. Are you with me? I can zoom out of the entire drawing, do my zoom extent, and then do my zoom extent. Zoom Z, enter, E, enter. So I have my zoom extent done, then I can go to my layer and do my layer work. If I have a very complex project, I can shuffle through to quickly see, get an overview of the designs that I have. This is using the layer work. You will start seeing the importance of this on the project that I will be giving you very soon. Are we good to go? All right. Now, that is all about the layer section. Do you have any question? Let me redo that again. So the last part of this layer is the match layer. When you go to match layer, you are trying to match a property of a particular layer or group an object under a new layer. So the first thing when you select the match layer command here, the option there is select objects. AutoCAD will ask you, please select the object you are trying to match. I can select all these objects that I have on the list here. And I click on enter on AutoCAD, and then it will tell me select the object of origin. That means the destination of this layer. What are you trying to convert all this shape to? I can select this one that is here, and then everything becomes that layer. That's how you match property on AutoCAD.